Hi, George Bruno here, also known as the Sultan of Silver in the hair industry. And I want to show you what I consider to be the perfect man's haircut. Stay tuned. The perfect man's haircut is obviously a haircut that fits his face shape, the size of his forehead, his growth patterns, the length of his neck. All of those things contribute to what would be a good-looking haircut on a man. I have my mannequin model here, and I just want to show you a couple things. I actually use this for training people how to do straight razor shaves. So what you're seeing here is actually a face map of all the official strokes that you do when you give a straight razor shave. But this is also a styling mannequin as well. This particular mannequin, I think, has the perfect man's haircut. And when I say perfect man's haircut, what I mean is short on the sides, in the back, longer on top, with multiple styling options. That's super important. What I've done is I take my electric clippers and I start at the sideburns, and right at the top of the ear, right about here, is when I start rocking away. So I'm going to clean up the sideburns. When I get to the area that is the top of the ear, I'm going to rock away. So I'm not going up and then out. I'm kind of doing this arc motion. So from where you are, what you're seeing is this. Let me see if I can, there we go. Rocking away, rocking away, rocking away. And I'm doing that right up all the way around. I'll show you exactly what I mean. All the way around the head. If I created a line that goes from the top of the ear all the way around, what I want to do is do all that with the clippers under normal circumstances. But what I want to do is create a more natural haircut, a more natural style that doesn't even have the temptation to feel prickly or porcupiney. So what I do is I have an imaginary line from the bottom of the earlobe here all the way around to the bottom of the other earlobe. So in effect, it's a line that just kind of goes like this all the way around. I taper the bottom of this, which means I come up from the skin and rock out, rock out, rock out from the skin. And I will go pretty close with that. I don't like to bring the taper up to this area here. What I want to do is I want to take shears and actually start cutting right at about that line. Now this haircut is just about perfect the way it is right now. So I'm taking my shears, and because I rocked it out, I can make almost a seamless transition as I'm coming up the back of the head, coming up the back of the head and out, remember, and out. And then on the side as well, let me put it in such a way where you can see it, where I'm taking the shears and I'm coming out, coming out, coming out. What I'm not doing is following the contour of the head. I'm not literally just doing this. I see a lot of people doing that, and that's a bad move. And I can, when I'm out in public and I look at haircuts, I can see where the hair was cut too close with shears or too high with clippers. Now, let's just take a look at the contours of a head. Let me find my other comb here. Watch, I'm going to put this on here. And see this area? Let me see if I can just balance this so you can see it. Yeah, there we go. This area here, right from here, where the head departs from this plane, and this area right here where the head departs from the plane. Now let me take these combs away. And what we have is about a 2-inch area called the parietal ridge. That is where the head literally starts to curve. So from here to here, it curves. It's a 2-inch horseshoe that goes around the head. When you cut into that too close, or you mow it down with clippers, you end up with a, for lack of a better term, a porcupine horseshoe that goes around the head. And I'll see a lot of stylists do this where they go right up the side of the head, and usually the parietal ridge starts just below the temple area. That's why I say rock that out, rock that out. I don't want to follow it up, because what happens is when you mow this down, then you need a lot of crap, pomade and paste and whatever hair product you use to kind of put this down. And beware of the stylist or barber that uses excessive product, because that pretty much will tell you that they didn't do a great job and they're hiding their mistakes. So I am pretty much myself a scissor and comb guy. So let's just wet this. It'd be cool to have like a little rolling workstation here, wouldn't it? So what I'm doing is right where the clippers stopped, I'm beginning the shear over comb style. And again, I'm not going straight up. What I'm doing is I'm rocking out. I'm rocking out. I'm rocking out. That way, what's happening is I have a nice natural cut where the hair is laying down all by itself. It doesn't need to be plastered down with product. One of the reasons why I'm rocking out, the other reason is because I want a haircut to have its own zip code. What I don't want is a head-shaped haircut in the same way that you don't want a head-shaped or a face-shaped beard. You'll notice on the back here, let's take a look at this. What I did not do was go right up the back of the head. I didn't do that. I created a nice little taper from the skin, rocked it out, and then I blend with the shears and I'm moving away from the head and up. If you take a look at this now, what you're not seeing is this hair being literally 1/8 of an inch long all the way up to the crown, which a lot of people will do that. They will just buzz the hair all the way up and then take blending shears and try to fix that. Can't be done. Can't be done. So what I do is I will take the shears and I will cut and come away. But I am not using the skull as a guide. This is a total freehand shear over comb. So you'll see right here, watch, when I put this in, it goes in at least, you see that right there? It goes in at least 3/4 of an inch, which means I'm not following the contour of the skull. Skulls are weird things. For those of you that shaved your head, a lot of times when you shave your head, you see peaks and valleys and nooks and crannies, and you're like, whoa. That's why I always recommend a buzz cut or some type of really close cropped cut before a man shaves his head, because you don't know what your skull looks like. I see so many bad haircuts where people are taking the clippers and going right up the side of the head, and this is literally a 1/16 or an 1/8 of an inch in length, and there's no shape. The beautiful thing with a conscious barber or stylist is that they are creating a shape with the hair. This shape, see this silhouette that you're seeing right here? This is different than the skull. So you have a chance to take the eye away from things that might not be so pleasing. Or things that, like, nobody wants to look like a skull with a mohawk. I see a lot of those haircuts and I think like, oh my Lord. So what we want to do is kind of create a haircut that has its own zip code, that departs from the skull, the scalp, in an artful manner. And now what I'm going to do is put a little bit of layrite on this. Hold on one second. I have a haircut that looks great without product. The only thing I used was a spray bottle. Like I said, if you need a whole boatload of product to maintain your style, then there's a possibility that there's a lot of mistakes in it and the person didn't know what they were doing. I'm just going to take that much, like a lima bean. Rub it in my hands. And what I'm going to do is, I like to pretend there's a wagon wheel lowered right on top of the person's head, and I'm going up the spokes. Going around the wagon wheel, up the spokes. Going around the person's head. And this is what I'll do when I have somebody in the chair. And I want 360-degree application. You got to remember, when it comes to putting product on, there's two phases. There's application and then there's styling. Don't forget that. Don't just put it on in one direction. You want to go on in 360 degrees. Like I said, the wagon wheel, and you're going up each spoke to the center hub of the wheel. Now I'm going to style this. The application has been done. And this helps spread some of the product as well. What I'm not doing is gumming down the hair. We don't want that. This is a nice style for the end of summer, for fall, when the temperatures are starting to change a little bit. I like it close on the sides. I like it a little bit longer on top. And then what I always like to do is just put the fingers through it. Like that, and add a little dimension and texture, if you can see that. How would this haircut look on you? I think it would look really good. Minimal product, scissor intensive. Electric clippers only to do edges, only to do the sideburn area and the nape of the neck. I find that scissor intensive cuts blend nicer, they last longer, they're easier to style, and literally it just grows in so nice. So it's not just it doesn't just look neat for 10 to 14 days. They grow in so much nicer when scissors are used, and there's less of a porcupine look. Now that area there is what makes a man's haircut. What a barber or stylist does with the parietal ridge is the most important skill that they can master. You need to master what you do with this area going around. If they don't have that down, then this becomes the horseshoe-shaped porcupine, prickly. You'll notice a lot of people, when you get out of your barber or stylist chair, when you touch your hair, is it prickly? That means it's too short. For those of you that have a more lay-down style I'm talking about. So I think this is great. It kind of lays down with even just a spray bottle. Let me know what you think. Would this haircut look good on you? I'm working at Alura Salon outside of Philadelphia. If you'd like to schedule a haircut and a beard trim, call the number down below, make an appointment, and I hope to see you soon.